Hey, Chris Mack here. Welcome to 3-Minute Business Tip. We just had a new mentee, second meeting, just getting to know each other, brand new business, startup. It's exciting. It's all of the things that every small business goes through, especially businesses in the beauty industry. Often the motivator to get your own place, to work on your own. There's things, you have creative vision, absolutely. But I hear it very, very, very often, more often than I like to hear, but most of the time, they are providing an answer to a toxic work environment. So they're not happy where they are. People that they're working with are not happy where they are. And they put their heads together and they take on some risk and they create their own space. What happens very often is egos are involved, and even though you have every good intention, that same behavior trickles into the new business. So it's very important to stop that right at the threshold. And the best way to stop that, the best way to be able to stay positive and be an owner that gets to remain inspired, be an owner that doesn't have to respond to things emotionally, be somebody who is able to lead. And the best thing you can do is a little tool called a handbook. When you have your plan, when you have your vision, when you go through those things early on with your team, and those things are outlined in writing and agreed upon, as months go by, as things are happening, if people they forget, and grass is greener on the other side. So even though they came over with all these great intentions, the fact is, if you're not watering that grass, you're going to start looking back to where you used to be, or you're going to start, and it's going to be again, it's this domino effect. It's like one beauty-based business is an owner, they tick people off. Some of those people go, they have their own business. They tick people off. They go have their own business, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes like this. And it's like, how do you stop that cycle? What do you do? A handbook allows you to bring your team back and say, okay, you know what? I know you're feeling that way, or I know you might see it this way, but let's go back to our handbook and what we agreed upon. This is how we decided we would handle these situations. It empowers you. It's not emotional. Once you bring people back, and especially in beauty-based businesses, beauty environments, that industry, it can be very emotional. It can be a very, people always like to use the word drama. I always thought that was a huge excuse. But you can get a lot of different, I think people like to say egos. You get a lot of different egos, a lot of different opinions, creative, different visions, different creatives working together under the same roof, pardon me. And it can be hard to navigate. But if you bring people back to written word and say, here's what we agreed upon, this is the path that we discussed. If you want to revise this, if you think maybe, you thought it was a great idea 6 months ago and now you're second guessing, well, I'm there with you. I mean, we're all learning together, and our intention when we started this new business together, again, they came over as employees, not partners, but you're a team, right? As we started this, we had this vision, and you saw my vision, you aligned with my vision, you were excited, you came over, and as we're working on this together, we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all figuring out our way. And this was the handbook. This is what the business, this was our vision. And, I'm open to adapt it. I'm open to make some changes. And that is why in my handbook workshop, when I'm teaching small businesses how to put their handbooks together, you always have an end date. There's always the date that it was created, and then you have your meeting again where you review that handbook, because things do change. For example, shop hours. Your hours may change. That's a revision, so that's a new copy of that handbook. Anyway, but we can get into more details on the handbook. But the point is, what it does is it empowers you, because then you're able to take your staff and bring them to the written word, show them, this is what we agreed upon, this was the plan, this is why we're doing it this way. So rather than, someone talking over by the sinks and another person talking outside in the garbages and yap, 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 and then this, again, toxicity builds. And it's like, whoa, wait a second, we left that. Why is that here? I don't want that here. Establish the rules right from the beginning. When you establish the rules, aka the handbook, right from the beginning, It just nips things in the bud. And this also relates back to me preaching about software. When you have software that documents clients that come in, clients that I refer, clients that rebook, or all this stuff, when you have software, then your handbook's actually supported. So those two things go hand in hand. Now, if you throw in the communication binder, that little tutorial that's coming, well, you just have a crystal stamped business. Very happy with that. Yeah, anyway, that's it. This is now a 5-minute business tip. Oh man.